Welcome to Cadwell Park, where today you're joining me on board my F1000 Jedi race car at this beautiful circuit in Lincolnshire. This is actually more of a bike track, so you're going to see some really awesome action here. This is the full race on board, no editing. Lights are on, let's go. Cracking start from everyone here, pretty equal, and we just slot into place, laying a lot of rubber down. Going into turn one, everyone lifts a little bit just because the tyres are cold, and we get nice and close up to the back of Craig here, who is the current defending F1000 champion from 24. All getting around nicely, turn 3, and then on to the back straight. As you can see, the circuit is extremely undulating, moves around a lot. It's a tight right-hander third gear. Exit curb disappears pretty quickly into grass. This is a continuously bending right-hander, so as you can see the wheels all over the place here. And then we're going into the gooseneck, which is kind of a blind entry, blind exit. Curb comes in quick again, and it's a downhill braking zone. Getting the car rotated around nicely and sticking onto the back of Craig again. And we're coming into the uphill section called the mountain here. We've got to try and carry the momentum and speed through here whilst changing direction, which is a bit difficult, and that's why the gap increases to Craig. And then we're going through the hall bends, which is quite complex to get wrong, or quite complex to get right, and quite scary if you get it wrong, which I have done before. And again, around the final two corners, this one where I crashed in last year. So obviously left a bit of a gap. I'm just not quite as confident through that corner, but I'm pretty happy to have finished the first lap still with the front four in my sights, and we're pretty quick round turn 1, entering at 134, getting around that corner and carrying a lot of speed. Big snap of oversteer hit there where the rear left hit the grass. Very scary, but obviously it's racing, you have to forget about it and continue. So we're nice and close to Craig again, and I think this will be the theme of the race, is really close in the first half of the circuit, and then it's just as we get towards the mountain and through the last two corners that I kind of gap from everyone. You can see Rob out there in front and Matt chasing him in the green car, and then it's James Clarnell in the orange and white, and Craig Pollard that I'm getting right up behind here, as I said, the defending 24 champion in F1000. So pretty happy to be keeping up with these guys in such a complex and difficult track. I do find that I've performed better at complex tracks rather than the likes of Silverstone, where I don't even know where to place my car. This track is just full send, just commit as much as you can, which I do in the braking zones. It's just on the exit of these corners that I struggle on. Snap of oversteer, not a problem this time. So again, the gap increases, and it will probably decrease as we throw it into turn 1. 136 entry, wow, didn't even drop below 130 there. But it's always this corner that I screw up. I think I'm turning a bit late there maybe, but taking the curb. I will have to check with my driver coach, Matthew, around Harido. Debate as to whether you want to take that inside right-hander curb there, because it can unsettle the car, but I think that it pulls you in, it keeps the grip. Following a nice line here, quickly snapping the wheel over. You've got to predict where that curb is going to be, because you can't see it on entry. So you're kind of throwing in and turning in blind. The beauty of Cadwell. So coming in 115 into the bottom of the mountain here. If you lock up there, you go straight into that wall, so you definitely don't want to. There's a big sausage curb on the right there, so obviously not trying to hit that. Big snap of oversteer as I hit the curb. And again, getting around the last corner. Big curb on the inside there. You kind of want to avoid it, although if you do hit it, it does help rotate the car. Just staying a bit quiet here, letting you enjoy the engine sound, take all of Cadwell in. Another snap of oversteer, obviously with a sequential gearbox, so you can see that's what my left hand is doing there, is pulling to go up the gear, pushing to go down the gears. It is a little bit complicated because we have a clutch for downshifting, but we don't clutch for upshift, so we just slightly lift off the throttle each time we pull back on the gear stick. That does mean we are right foot braking into braking zones, so that's right foot on the brake, dropping one gear, using the clutch. I would feel much more comfortable and safer if it was left foot braking, but unfortunately it would cost too much to modify all of these cars for all the drivers. As you can tell, that curb was really big there, that's what made it unsettle the car so much. And again, still coming to the end of lap 4, and we're still kind of the same distance that we have been for most of the race. You can also see the last 2 laps that I set are literally 4,000ths between each other, so there's a lot of consistency here from us as drivers, which for me is a pretty big move forward because this is only my second full season in F1000, so being able to keep up with the fast guys and keep consistent laps is, yeah, pretty impressive from my own aspect. Hopefully you're still locked in with me here. I find it quite hard to look away here at Cadwell Park. I think it's such a mesmerising, beautiful track, so exciting. Especially as you touch the grass like that and the rear unsettles a little bit. We're getting a little bit close to Craig now. Confident on those brakes on the downhill. Just not very good at getting the speed through here, understandably, because it's not easy. And I don't really get the whole, you go up and over the mountain, you want to lift a little bit off the throttle because you don't want to land and be fully revving it out. It's not good for the engine, and it could send you sideways. I think I'm lifting too much, or maybe too early. You might notice lap 5 was another 23, and again it was only a hundredth of a second off of the previous lap, so again showing a lot of consistency here. Bit of dust goes up there from James Clennell, always exciting. It's like a shark smelling blood when you see dust in a race car at amateur racing. Doesn't mean necessarily anyone's done anything wrong. Then there's me going down the hill with a huge snap there. As I entered, I must have thrown the wheel in too hard, back stepped, saved it, and then on the exit saved it again. This is what I love most about racing. You can have what is practically a near-death experience, or at least, let's take the dramatic bit down a bit, but I could have come off doing 95 miles an hour. I could have come flying off there, could have caused £10,000 worth of damage smashing into a wall, but it happens in a split second and you just have to then carry on as though nothing happened, forget that it happened, and then when you get back round to that same corner, just pretend like nothing ever happened and try and forget about it, really. And I just find that really fascinating about racing. It's all about controlling that heart rate, controlling the adrenaline, keeping focused and calm. I was driving 136 miles an hour. You can see Craig snapping a bit there. These cars love to slide. Hoosier. Slick tyres. Now let's go see what we do for the gooseneck this time. Nothing too scary. Now we gained on Craig again, but he's going very slow. So what's happening here is Craig's had an issue with his gearbox, so we actually overtake the defending 24 champion. Now definitely not on merit, unfortunately, but he had an issue with the car, so needed to back off. But we will take that all the way to the bank. And again, if you're looking at the lap times, as we're about to actually complete lap 7, but if you look at lap 6, again another 23, only 400ths off of the previous lap. So the last 4 laps have been all within 400ths of a second. What's going to happen for lap 7? Slightly slow. Bear in mind the lap record here in a Jedi F1000 is, I believe, a high 121, which is absolutely ludicrous. That was set back in 2011, I believe. And that lap record was actually then broken 3 years ago, I think, by a superkart. Now, if you don't know what a superkart is, I believe it's a twin-engined go-kart, basically, with a bit of aero and a few panels on it. And basically, these things go about the same speed as a Jedi F1000, but you're not wearing seatbelts. So you've got to be pretty insane, in my opinion. Now, I am backing off slightly. You might have noticed the gap to James has increased. Now, this is because Craig's backed off behind me. I couldn't even see the guy behind me, Tom Westworth, my teammate. So I thought, well, I'm not going to catch James at this point. I might as well back off a little bit and maybe save the tyres for race 2. It's going to be a reverse grid, which means it's going to be difficult. But it's my best chance because obviously the fast guys who are in front of me now are going to be behind me at the grid start, and Cadwell is the Monaco that you can defend on pretty easily, as you've seen today. So I kind of started backing off and thinking, you know, there's a 120, high 126 there, so I went a bit slower. Now this wasn't the best idea because 2 things. First of all, when you drive a car like this, you kind of are supposed to, it's same as F1, you need to drive it on the limit. You can't be not focused, you can't not drive it correctly, and it's actually harder to drive slowly. And then the other thing is with my lack of experience, I'm not quite good at judging timings yet, and what that basically means, if you start lifting, well, the others are going to gain, right? So yeah, Tom's about to come through my rear view very shortly. So we hit the grass on the exit, which isn't ideal. Bit of a snap, but nothing too worrying to deal with. But as you can see, Tom is still in my rear view, so the pressure is on. It's just about not making mistakes. Now he's a lot closer here, so I've really not done a good job of holding him off, been a bit cautious, I'd say, and I've given myself unnecessary pressure for the final lap. I'm only really worried about the first half of the circuit where he might be able to overtake on the straight. Nearly lost it there. But he's way too far back here, so we're feeling fairly in control. Now as we go through the gooseneck down the hill, this is probably the last, well, I'm going to say the last proper braking, the last proper overtaking point, but that's not true. Matt Higginson has thrown it up the inside of me going into the mountain before I've seen him go around the outside Clenell, so it definitely is an opportunity, but once you get over the mountain, again, Matt Higginson's overtaking me over the mountain as well, but going through this last pool bends, there's not really anywhere you can go. You can't really go around anyone here. You could launch it down the inside, but it's probably not going to work out. So as long as you just sit in the middle and you don't mess it up, you don't crash into the wall in the final corner, you should be good. So crossing the line in P4. So after Craig's issue, it meant that I came home P4, my highest ever finish in F1000. First time I've actually beaten Tom, my teammate behind me, only just. So yeah, really pleased with that result. Showed some pretty good driving, good pace at the start. Obviously it dropped off, but yeah, showed good pace, kept up with the fast guys, had a lot of fun. Didn't bin it, nearly bin it, but yeah, that was race 1 at Cadwell. We'll be posting the second race where I got my podium following this soon. Make sure you subscribe for more onboards.